Hey, welcome to today's video. I'm Rick Chapo with DMCA So just cutting a quick video to let you know the big news. The EU copyright directive vote is finally coming. Yes, it's coming. So after a year or two of screaming and yelling, this is it, the big one. So the vote is on Tuesday, March 26, 2019. And if the copyright directive passes, well, then it becomes essentially a binding directive, and the 28, well, soon 27 member states will have to go ahead and pass laws incorporating the concepts in the directive. So the directive is obviously very controversial. The reason for that, if somehow you don't know or you haven't heard, is there are two articles in it that take a very different approach to copyright law, something we have never really seen online. One is Article 11. It talks about a link tax. And what that basically says is that if you link to a story or some type of content produced by a news resource in the EU, well, then you're going to have to pay a licensing fee. And people call it a link tax for some reason. How specifically that's going to work, what are the fees and all those kinds of things aren't really clear yet, but that's the general concept. The second controversial provision is Article 13, which I like to call the content filterish provision. So originally it said that companies moving quote unquote large amounts of data, whatever that is, would have to filter that data for infringing works that are infringing on copyright. So if somebody, let's say you're a photographer, you take a picture and somebody, copies it from your website and reposts it to their Facebook page. Well, Facebook would have a duty to recognize that and filter it. And that concept didn't go over very well because it's never really worked online. Google's put $100 million into the content ID system we see on YouTube, and it's better now, but it was really bad initially. And so what happens is you get a lot of content that gets caught up in it that is not infringing by any stretch of the imagination. And meanwhile, other content that is clearly infringing material slips through. And so there's going to be a lot of teeth grinding on this one. But anyway, they've apparently rewritten Article 13, and now it says things like best available technology, and you have to give it a good try. And the word filter has been struck from the language. And the interesting thing is nobody really knows exactly what it says because they haven't released it to the public. Yes, they're having a vote on Tuesday, and the public hasn't seen it. Now, the public doesn't vote on this. The EU representatives will vote, but nonetheless, it certainly makes you go, So will the copyright directive pass? Looks like it, but there's growing opposition. There has been for the last year. Whether it's defeated or not is difficult to say, but right now it kind of has the feel like it's going to squeak through. Will the link tax work? Will it help news organizations? Almost certainly not. The people who drafted that are obviously not historians because it's been tried before. In fact, Germany tried it. And what happened was they did almost irreparable damage to their news industry. And the reason is online, a lot of news sites get their traffic from news aggregators. So classic example is Google News. If you get Google News, every day you get a email or however you're receiving it. And there's a list of stories on whatever the topic is that you've entered a keyword for. And it's, a short blurb about the story and then a link to the news site. Okay, well, bazillions of people use that service, and that's how they find the news, and they click those links and they go to the news site. Well, what happened with Germany is when they passed the news link tax previously, all the news aggregators just dropped all the links from Germany. And so suddenly the traffic for the news sites in Germany plummeted, and so did their revenues. So, and particularly in the world that we live in today, if there's an interesting story in Germany, I'm pretty sure a paper in the United States is going to have the same story. Maybe not exactly the same one, and hopefully not, but they're certainly going to discuss the same subjects. So why would I link to a German newspaper and pay a link tax when I can link to a paper in the U.S., an online news source in the U.S., and not pay the link tax? Yeah. As for the content filter-ish provision, so much of it's under cloak and dagger that we don't even know, the exact wording. But again, Google's pumped $100 million into the content ID system on YouTube, and it's met with mixed results. So you have to wonder how that's going to play out with some of the big players. Again, a lot of this is just anti-US attitude, but hey, There you go. So again, the EU copyright directive vote is coming. It's on Tuesday, March 26, 2019. So keep an eye out for it. I realize copyright can sometimes be a boring subject, but this is a potential major change to how the internet functions. So do keep an eye out. So anyways, thanks for watching. Have yourself a good one.